NIS is a publisher that has been on my radar for a while. The reason they're special to me is because they're the ones that have published the most recent Ys games, so Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, Ys 9, Monstrum Nox, which are two games I really enjoy, along with them being my exposure to the Trails series with Zero, Azure, Reverie, and even The Legend of Nayuta, which I really, really like. But it goes beyond just that. There have been other things in their library that have been interesting, such as Yurukill and, Cry Machina, which that's kind of a hit and miss game for me, but, for some it would hit, for some it won't. But there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, and that's because if NIS is not on your radar, they should be. They have at least 3 games, for sure, that I'm very excited for, that I think you all should take a look at. Now we'll start with the one that has me the most excited here, which is Ys 10, Nordics. Now Ys 8, to me, is a true classic, and Ys 9 is something I've really enjoyed. It's something different for the franchise, and I think it really makes it stand out. With Ys 10, though, they're really changing things up when it comes to that, because the biggest thing, at least with Ys, is that it gets rid of its combat system, where it's just like you had these 3 tiers of attacks and some work better than others, where now they're going to something called a cross-action system, because in this game you're still playing as Adol, but you also now have a new companion with you called Karja, and you both work in sync with each other when it comes to combat and building up something called the Revenge Gauge. Now, Ys is a special place in my heart, and I love how this game looks. I know this game already is out in Japan, so I've been trying to look as little on it as possible. I want to go in surprised with it, but it seems to retain what makes Ys special in terms of its vibrant graphics, its focus on... It's going to be more about exploration again in a different sense, kind of what you saw maybe with Ys 8, for instance, and it just looks flashy as all hell. No, Ys 10 Nordics has been on my radar ever since it was announced, and I've been waiting so long for a localization announcement. Now that we got it, I can't wait. It's just a matter of when it's coming out. We don't have an exact release date, but it's going to be sometime in the fall. Now, the next one, though, that should be on the radar is The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. Because, like I said, NIS has been my first exposure to the Trails series, with Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure, which are both excellent games. If you haven't played them, I do recommend them. And then there's the, Reverie, Trails to Reverie, which that's a long one, and I will have some things to say on that in the future. But Trails Through Daybreak caught my attention, though, because of its still colorful graphics that the Trails series is known for, but it goes for a different approach in terms of its combat. Now, Trails games, at least the ones that I listed, have mostly been turn-based combat. The one exception to the rule is The Legend of Nayuta, which, like I said, I really like that game. That game is so good. Whereas it seems like in Trails to Daybreak, they're going for kind of a hybrid of things. You have an action system, and you have a turn-based system with it. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out, on top of its story. The thing that really drew me in with the Trails games is their story, whereas Ys was more kind of exploration and, finding out going on an adventure and finding out a mystery. Trails goes for seems to go grandiose with its story, and Daybreak doesn't seem to be any exception, and focus in a new region that hasn't been explored yet, the Calvard region. What I'm very curious to see with it is how does this link into the previous Trails games, if anything. Now, the one thing we do know is that this is a new arc for Trails, and there is a sequel, Trails Through Daybreak 2, or Kuro no Kiseki 2, which I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting here. It's just a matter of when. And then they also announced a new one, Zemuria, I don't have the exact name for it off the top of my head right now, but as a newcomer to the Trails series, I'm very excited to see where they go with these arcs, and I know I still have the rest to explore when it comes to the past, when it comes to, say, the Sky games, for instance, and even the stuff beyond that came out before that isn't Trails, but it's still part of the Legend of Heroes. No, Daybreak caught my attention immediately, just like East 10 did, and I can't wait to play this one, which is scheduled for the summer. Again, no exact release date, but I want to theorize maybe July, just because that's when Reverie came out. So that's my guess. If there's an announcement, we'll hear about it soon. But then there's one more game. There's one more game that got announced recently, which is an unknown, at least for me, with what's been shown. But it's something I'm very intrigued with, and it's called REYNATIS. Now, REYNATIS, that sounds like a very cool name, and it's got a very cool logo with it. But the interesting thing with this game is that it's published by Furyu, and they did publish Cry Machina, which was, for me, okay. It didn't really click with me, but the one that I did try a demo of before that I would love to get a full build of is Monarch, because that one was intriguing. REYNATIS still seems to continue carrying that style that you see with those games, but I do think this one looks a lot more flashy and just visually appealing to me. And also reading up with what I can of its story, it seems like it takes place in the year 2024, which is currently right now, and I don't think the world looks like this. I do think it would be cool, though, to have this. Now, in terms of style, like, that's really this game's selling point. I think this game looks frickin' gorgeous! I just hope it actually runs well. That's the big thing when it comes to it. But it's following two characters, Marin and Sari, which I'm curious to see if their paths will cross, or what this world will explore, what this world will bring to them. It does follow a combat system very similar to what I'm seeing with Ys, where it's all real-time combat, but it's very flashy, and it seems to switch between two styles, such as suppress states and liberate states. And what I could gather from those, suppress is more of your defense thing, whereas liberated is you're going on the offense, you're whipping out those attacks. The biggest things when it comes to this is just like, you know, what's the story going to be like? Is it going to have an intriguing hook? The world itself, is it going to be fun to explore? Because it takes place in the city of Shibuya, which they have gone into detail to try and recreate. But there's more to it than just that. It's not just there, but there's also pockets, of the world where you go to, it looks like these alternate dimensions. So, I want to know how that's going to factor into the story and everything. Like, this one is the most intriguing to me, because this is, at least for me, the one I know the least about. Whereas with Daybreak and Nordics, there's information out there because they already came out in Japan, and we're just getting these now. We're getting these soon, so I'm very excited for those, but REYNATIS is the one I want to look into the most. But if you guys know anything more about these titles, please leave me some feedback in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, or if any of you have played these games, because I want to know your feedback. If you had a chance to play them, what do you think? Did you like them? Are you excited for these English localizations? But, like I said, if NIS is not on your radar, and if you like JRPGs, you need to put them on your radar right now. These three titles alone are super exciting and very intriguing. We are already living in the year of the JRPG with Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Persona 3 Reload, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and the upcoming Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance and Metaphor ReFantazio, Ayuden Chronicles, 100 Heroes. Like, if you're a JRPG fan, you're living good right now. And with the things that are coming out, it's just making this journey even better. But, like I said, keep NIS on your radar for these titles. I think they're going to be awesome, and you can expect coverage for them on the channel, one way or another here. But I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Like I said, if you've played Daybreak or Nordics, or if you know anything more on REYNATIS, please let me know below. What are you excited for JRPGs in general? Like, what's your history with NIS? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But with that, I thank you all for watching and taking time out of your day to enjoy this. So with that being said, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Super Retro Force.